Hey there everybody, and welcome. In this lesson today we are going to learn some basic techniques to stylize typography. Let's go ahead and dive in. To get started, we're going to work on this shape tool. Let's hop right in, hold our spacebar down and move in. We want to fit this word shape to this circle. You can do this in a couple different ways. The first way is we can put our shape to fit in the actual circle. I'm going to do this by just kind of scaling it in. I always make sure in this case that I keep the shape on top. You want to make sure the shape you're distorting to is on top. I'm going to highlight both of those. I'm going to go up to Object, and then I'm going to go down here to Envelop Distort, and we're going to make with top object. When we do that, you're going to see you now have a top object warp. We could go back into the envelope options if we wish, and we could adjust as we see fit. You're going to see it's just going to make some minor changes as we go, but that is one way you can shape your text. There is a little bit of an easier way for this, so let's go ahead and undo. Here, I'm going to go over to my eraser tool and find my knife tool. I'm going to just cut. The knife tool is a really fun tool if you haven't used it before. It's really, you just kind of cut through your different shapes. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of lift this up here, and let's go ahead and say we want to put that shape now in this top area. I can do that by simply grabbing the text and then holding Shift and grabbing that top shape. And I'm going to hit Control Option C or Command Alt C, and that's going to paste that shape into that mix for me. That's a quicker way than going up to the object menu to create that final shape. Next, we want to add some texture to our text. So let's zoom in here and play a little bit with texture. This one's really easy. You can do it a few different ways. If you go to Effect, you're going to find a texture menu. Now, one thing that's unique about this texture menu are these are rastered effects. So it actually brings up, if you remember from Photoshop, the effects panel, and we can go ahead and change those as we see fit. And that will add the texture to our scene if you're looking for like a grain texture. If I go over to Window and our good old Appearance tab, the Appearance tab is really great because it shows us what we've done on a particular layer. We have grain, we can click on grain, we can go in and edit it. These are non-destructive in a sense. We can kind of play with these, we can toggle them on and off, we can even hit delete and go back to the beginning, which is great. Next, I want to show you if you already have a nice vector texture. You can find all sorts of textures by going to your swatches panel. If you open up swatch and hit the little library books, you're going to notice you have all sorts of patterns and different textures within that. You can also pull in things from online to help you with that as well. What we're going to do though is use one that we've already imported. So I'm going to hit V on my keyboard and I'm going to move this on top. We're going to make a clipping mask. Once the texture is on top of the text, I'm going to highlight them both. And I'm going to go to Window Transparency. When Window Transparency opens up, I'm going to then just hit Make Mask. At first, you're going to go, this didn't work, but you just want to uncheck the clip option. There you have it. You have some really lovely textured text. I can go through and change the different screen and blending modes depending on what type of text I'm using. Go ahead and play with those. But overall, that is how you get the text that you're looking for. The final technique we're going to use is we're going to create some depth. We can create depth a couple different ways. One way is we could use our 3D extrude panel. So if we go to 3D extrude, immediately you're going to get depth. You're going to be greeted with a really fun panel in which you can play with that depth. You can play with the twist. You can play with the taper. We can play with things like the inflate. So if we want to make it a balloon, that's kind of fun. And we can even adjust our lighting as we see fit. If you don't want to do it that way and you're not a big fan of those 3D clunky graphics, let's undo this and let me show you another way. I'm going to hold the Option or Alt key and I'm going to take this and we're going to just go ahead and we're going to actually use some of the colors from our other scenes. So let's go ahead and take this and get our eyedropper tool and let's make this yellow. I'm going to then hold my Alt key. I'm going to pull that Alt key down a few different times. So again, 3 different times. I have 3 different shapes. I'm going to highlight all of these shapes. I could use my Align tool here. So I'm going to go over to my Align tool and just make sure that, whoops, wrong one here, but we're distributing them evenly throughout this process. And we're going to use a tool called the Blend tool, which is W on your keyboard. To play with the Blend tool, you just hit W, you double click. We're going to specify things. We can specify distance, we can specify depth, we can specify color. I'm going to specify steps, and I'm going to put 100 in there and hit OK. You're going to see it doesn't do anything. You have 2 options here to play with that. You can go to Object Blend and you can hit Make. You have a fun little depth element. So the next step would be to take this one that you had and move it to the front. So I'm going to right click and arrange, bring to front. I'm going to just snap that into it and we have some fun depth. Well, what if we wanted to play with these a little more? On this last color, let's go ahead and let's lighten this. So one of the cool things about this tool is it will also read the different kind of colors in that as well. Now, if I go and shift and select all of these and go to my Blend tool, another way is I can just drag once with the left mouse button and drag back with the left mouse button, and it will get me this really cool looking gradient, which I can then make sure that I have this in the front and pull that down and it snaps in there, and voila, in a matter of seconds we have some really cool shape techniques that you can use to stylize your typography if you're making a typographical poster or any sort of stylish typography. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and I can't wait to see what you create. I'll catch you in the next one.